to get to today. We are going to talk about the aftermath of the Arizona football game up in Washington. Where does Arizona go from here? What do they do from here? A lot to get to. Let's get started here on Locked On Wildcats.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for keeping it Locked On Wildcats. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, a lot to get to here. Arizona loses 9-39. And honestly, I guess you could take away two different things. First of all, we need to talk about the defense. This defense is approaching historically bad levels. Well, not that it hadn't before, but you look at the numbers, and Michael Penix Jr. went 36 of 44 for 516 yards and 4 touchdowns. Yeah, that's a problem. And keep in mind, too, that this is also a guy who has not looked great in recent weeks, and you made him look like Joe Montana out there. Now, granted, Arizona did do a much better job against the run. And there's certainly something to be something to get a lot of credit for on that one, because teams have been absolutely gashing Arizona with the run of late. So there certainly is that. But you saw a defense out there that, again, through a different way, was just pretty much outmanned out there. This is a team that this is a team that right now. I don't know that there's going to be any answers during the season. As a matter of fact, I don't think there's going to be any answers during the season, because there's nothing really that you can do right now. Personnel-wise, I did like putting Jacob Manu in there. I thought Jacob Manu played very well. I thought that was a nice little pickup for Arizona, and a lot of kudos to him for putting Jacob Manu in there, because a lot of people wouldn't have done it. And keep in mind as well that there's a lot of people that didn't think that he was worth a scholarship. And so you got to give Jed Fish some real credit on that one. But right now, this is that's still kind of few and far between. I think putting DJ Warnell back in there, but at the same time, you've also got, this is also a team that, right now is, you're grasping for answers. I mean, you look at the box score. You look at the box score right now on the defensive side of the football, and there's not a lot to like here. When DJ Warnell, it gets 11 tackles, 7 solo, and he's your safety, that's obviously a bad sign. Then Jackson Turner, same thing. Now, there were some guys that had some nice games. Again, got to give a lot of kudos to Jacob Manu here, because 2.5 tackles for loss, 10 tackles. This kid's going to be a player, and I think he's going to be a player sooner than later. I thought he was very, very good. But again, you look at it, zero sacks on the quarterback. That is a problem, and that's something that I don't know that they're going to be able to correct. And I think that's what's frustrating for so many people, is that as the year goes on, you're hoping that Arizona can continue to get a little bit better on that side of the ball, but that's really not occurring right now. And it'll be interesting to see if Arizona is able to do anything about that, because you look at this team right now, and they're definitely grasping for straws. There's no way around that. Now, conversely, on the offensive side of the football, this is a squad that this team can put up points on anybody. And Jayden de Laura has been absolutely fantastic. He is a guy that he's been, at least for me, and he hasn't been perfect for sure, but he's been everything that I think so many people thought or wanted him, the Pac-12 freshman of the year to be. You wanted him to be able to come in and, be able to lead this team through the air. And so far, so good. You look at his numbers from yesterday, and honestly, they speak for themselves. 25 of 34, 400 yards, 4 TDs, 0 interceptions. Looked good out there. It looked really, really good out there. And then you look at it, you look at T-Mac, 7 catches, a $132, 2 touchdowns. You're starting to see why he was so highly rated. Tanner McLaughlin, another 4 catches, 67 yards, a lot to like there. And, we'll continue to see what they can do, but the receiving core has 100% been a strength of the team. And honestly, this is a team, that's what needed to happen. The receiving core needed to be a strength of this team. The receiving core needed to be something where people could take a step back and then look and say, let us lead you. And right now, that has certainly been the case. But going position by position right there, you're going to grade out Jayden de Laura as an A. He was absolutely fantastic out there. And I think what's also interesting about him is while he's still learning to how to move without the football, but right now he is he's doing some really, really good stuff right now. And you look at the receiving core, he is that's an A+ unit as well. This is a this is a unit that is amongst the best in the country, and they're going to continue to be one of the best in the country. I don't think that there's any doubt about that. I watch this team, and I do think to myself that, on the ground, I'm not exactly sure what I'm missing with DJ Williams, why he isn't getting more play, because he should be getting more. I think he should be getting more play. Love Jonah Coleman. I think Jonah Coleman's going to be an absolute beast later on, but he still doesn't have some of that next level oomph, for lack of a better term, that DJ Williams has. Now, again, maybe I'm missing something, because that we can certainly miss some stuff from here and there, but it does feel though like this team is a little bit behind the scene right there, and we'll find out exactly what's going on. Tanner McLaughlin, though, got to give Tanner McLaughlin a real credit, because he has continued to be a guy who has been reliable down the middle, been able to get players involved. And you know what? When he is going down the middle, he is not just a fluke. He looks, and it'll be interesting to see as this happens, he looks like he's got some more ability to be able to continue to do some stuff. So we'll find out again about that. But I do think right now that this is a squad that is going to – I still think they're going to win a game or two, and we're going to get to the rest of their schedule here shortly. I do believe that they're going to win a game or two, but we got to remember going into the year that you still wanted to, at least for me, I still wanted to just be able to get 4 or 5 wins. I wanted to be able to get something like that, and when that happened, then I think Arizona would be in pretty good shape, and that's still – all of that is still very much in the discussion right now. But, I thought the offensive line, it had its moments where it was good, but the problem, though, too, with the offensive line is that it's not a unit where you can just impose your will on others. Now, again, there are opportunities. There are times where you can impose your will, for sure. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But you also need a unit that can get after can basically start to wear teams down. I don't look at this team and say offensively that this team has the capability or has the personnel to be able to wear teams down. But if you can keep Jayden de Laura upright, which they've been able to do so far, then that's obviously a really good thing for this defense, because there's a lot to like about that. Now, there are some other issues, though, that I think if you're Arizona, you're a little concerned about, a variety of different issues, which we're going to get to, but you've got a bye coming up right now. And with the bye coming up, I'm not exactly sure what Arizona's game plan is going to be, But you got to try to figure out something. You got to try to figure out something where you can at least be able to just slow teams down to a certain extent. And you know what? If you can slow teams down to a certain extent, then it becomes a lot easier. But we're also kind of at the point now where you are kind of what you are at this point in the season. It'll be interesting to see exactly what does happen going forward. Okay, now with when it comes to what the rest of the schedule does hold, that's where you're going to have to start looking at, and you're saying, where could these wins come from? Because it's about to get brutal. Well, it already is brutal, but this is also a squad that does have some potential to be able to hang in there with teams. But, as we talked about right now, there is definitely a little bit of a disconnect on the defensive side of the football. So you get this bye going. Again, I don't know exactly where exactly this bye is, how it's going to help, but I do believe that it's here at the right time, though. So we'll find out exactly what that means. Maybe it isn't. Maybe you just really can't get anything going at this point. We will find out, though, for sure. Now, where are these wins coming from? So you've got Utah, you got USC. Those, to me, are two very, very difficult games because you've got Utah. It's because they are incredibly physical, and we all know how that game plays out with Utah. And Arizona generally doesn't match up great with them. But I think we will find that this is a squad that can hang with some people for sure. I'm fascinated to see, though, where Arizona gets these wins. I think here's the two obvious ones. You got Washington State, and then you've got ASU as well. Those are the two that I think make a lot of sense as far as being able to possibly get some wins from that. So, and you look at Washington State, certainly not a great team. They're not bad, but they're certainly not great. And we'll find out exactly what they can do. But I do think that right now, this if you're Arizona, you're excited where you are offensively, but defensively, that's going to be a mess. And you got a team like ASU, who I think you can definitely beat. I don't think there's any doubt about it that you can beat ASU. And you know what? If you can beat ASU, 4 wins, go into the season on a high note, that's great. And again, I think that Arizona can definitely win that game. Washington State's much the same way. But you look around the conference, and if I were to tell you before the season that you were going to get 3 wins, or that was going to be the case, I think that, or 4 or 5 wins, at least for me, I would certainly have been the one that I would have taken that one. So we'll talk about that more about the schedule. We got a little bit of Arizona football coming up as well. But all right, need to take a quick break, but also need to tell you about the Get Upside app. Get Upside is where it's at for basically everything. If you want to save on your groceries, if you want to save on gas, get the Get Upside app. That's where honestly, if you're not on there, why not? Because it makes total sense to get there, because you get the app, you put code word locked, and you can start saving some real money immediately. Everybody knows when you go to the gas station that it's like, this isn't good. So get the Get Upside app, download the free Upside app, and use promo code locked to get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more using promo code locked. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back with you, and we're going to start talking a little bit more about just kind of taking a peruse around the rest of the conference. Keep it here, Locked On Wildcats. Thanks for keeping it Locked On Wildcats. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, now let's talk about what the conference looks like right now. Big wins, obviously, yesterday for Utah, USC as well. Utah over USC. Where is there a title contender in here? I don't think there is. I think that obviously USC is much more talented than they were last year, but at the same point, they're also not nearly. They still aren't big enough, I don't think, in the trenches to be able to make the kind of differences that right now that you're going to need from to compete at the highest level. And, again, it's not the worst thing. Lincoln Riley's going to get him there. I just don't think they're there quite yet. Washington, as we know, is a team that Utah with Kyle Whittingham. That's a squad right there that can do a lot of really, really good things. And, that's just kind of the way they are. But, Arizona, in the scheme of things, they look far more talented offensively than they were at this point last year. There's no doubt about that. We don't have to sit here and pretend that they're not. But there's some massive holes, and they're going to have to figure that one out during the offseason. They're going to have to go into the portal. They're going to have to go in there and find something where, you're going to have to go in there and you're going to have to find something where you can get difference makers. And again, by difference makers, I don't need a guy to come in and be an all-conference player or an all-American or anything like that. I just need somebody to be able to come in there and be able to get something to the effect of, just be a competent starter. Just be a competent starter. You don't need a huge difference maker because, again, if you can go from being the 7th best, or if you can go from being the 12th best defense in the country or in the conference to, say, maybe being the 7th or 8th, you're going to start winning a lot more games, and you're going to start winning a lot more games, and you're going to start winning a lot more games very, very quickly. So that's what you need, though, if you're Arizona. You need to be able to get that, and you need to be able to make something like that happen. That's where it's going to be exciting for me. Now, we will find out what about Arizona and when it comes to what to expect from next year. Next year's team should be fascinating, mainly because, again, your offense is going to be very, very good. But what's that next thing going to be? Are you going to be able to, be that type of player? Are you going to be able to be that type of team? We'll find out. I don't know, and I don't think a lot of people know on that one. But so far, Jedd Fisch has learned that his evaluation skills are much, much needed, and he's done a good job in the portal. But again, like I was talking with Jason Shearer a little bit offline about, it's his job to be able to find guys in the portal, to be able to find guys that can make this team better. And if you can't find guys that'll make it better, then he's not capable of doing the job. But I do believe that he's going to find those players because he certainly, I think, has shown in the past that he has the propensity to be able to get guys. He's a good salesman, and they know, hey, listen, we need a different defense in here. We'll find that one out. Okay, now, I take a quick break and wrap everything up, but I also wanted to talk to you about Nissan. Our partners at Nissan have worked with us to create a new segment across the Locked On college team titled Thrilling Moments, where we highlight the most exciting play from Arizona football. And again, we talked about it the other day, going to continue to talk about it, that the leap by the lake. Ortiz Jenkins jumping into the end zone, a huge monumental play right there. Because, again, you've got that was really what propelled Arizona to a 12-1 season. And when they were able to propel it to a 12-1 season, that was the best team in school history. So that's kind of where you're at this point right now. But people at Nissan, again, that's what's just to show you how much Locked On is growing. All right, this segment has been inspired by the thrilling new designs featured across Nissan's new lineup of vehicles. Pursue what thrills you all in the new Frontier, Armada, or Pathfinder today. Available at Nissan.com. We'll be right back with you. Thanks for keeping it Locked On Wildcats. I'm your host, Mike Luke. All right, so we talked about Washington and about exactly what happened there with the University of Arizona. What is that next step for the Wildcats? And I don't think it's going to be a process. Again, I still think there's a win or two to be had there. Utah, USC going to be very difficult, but if you want to take something away from it, the offense has been very, very good this year, and there's really no other way to put it. If you're a U of A, though, you're going to have to find that you're going to have to find another level, though, on the defense, or you're going to have to find something where maybe you start picking passes off, whatever the case may be, because there is a lot to there's a lot to improve on, to put it mildly. All right, we're going to be back with you tomorrow. We're going to be talking a lot of Arizona basketball. Arizona basketball season is here. That is always a good thing. But as always, thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats. I'll talk to you soon.